Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing a video that I haven't done in a very long time, and that is going to be my piercings and their pain scales. And this is going to be for me personally. I did a video like this a while ago where I did the pain scale for my piercings and my tattoos. I have quite a few tattoos and that would just take a really long time, and half of them I don't even remember the pain of getting them done, especially my older ones, but I do remember my piercings way more than my tattoos. So we're just going to do an updated pain scale for all of my piercings that I have currently. So this is going to be a very much up-to-date 2017, and then I'm also going to be including the pain scale for my retired piercings as well, because I know a lot of people still ask about like the piercings that I used to have, so I figured we would just add in the pain scale for those. Avril, stop it. She's playing with my background. Okay, so we are going to start from my ears and work our way down to everything else. So to start with my ears, we are going to begin with my lobe piercings. If you don't know what a lobe piercing is, very, very generic. Almost everyone has a lobe piercing. It's just these right here. I got those done quite a long time ago. My first lobes were done when I was maybe like a couple weeks old. So those I've had the longest. Those are my longest, you know, piercings that I've had. Pain scale for those were maybe, the ones that I remember, especially my seconds and my thirds, I was maybe around 12 when I got my second lobes done, and then 17 when I got my third lobes done. Those were like a 2 to 5 to 10 on the pain scale, and then my pain scale is like 1 being the least painful and 10 being the most painful. So those weren't bad at all. My first lobes, obviously I was a baby, so I don't really remember those all too well, but the ones that I do remember, 2 to 5 on the pain scale. And then for healing, during the healing process, it was about a 5 out of 10 for those. Moving on to my right ear, we have my helix piercings. I have 2 of them. I have one up here, and then I also have a midway helix or a middle helix, whatever you want to call it. A lot of times you'll hear people refer them to either as helix or cartilage piercings. Getting those pierced wasn't too bad. It was maybe like a 5 out of 10, just a lot of pressure and a really hard pinch, and it was over, just like with most piercings. And then the hardest part about those was definitely the healing. The healing for these was definitely a 9 or a 10 out of 10. They were just very, very painful. And also, like with helix piercings, there's a lot of cartilage there, and it's very thick cartilage. So when you're putting a needle through there and it's trying to heal, it's not a good time at all. Moving on to my next ear piercing that I have is my daith piercing, which is just this inner part of the ear. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this on the internet or on Facebook or on YouTube about how this is supposed to cure migraines, this piercing right here. So yeah, getting that done was extremely, extremely painful. 10 out of 10 getting it pierced. I hated getting it pierced. It was very, very painful. And I remember specifically when I went and got my daith pierced, I went with my mom and my sister, so we all have the same piercing. And I remember getting it done, there was a lot of blood, and I was laying down when I was getting the piercing, and when he pierced it, all the blood rushed down into my ear, so I couldn't hear out of this ear. Literally, my first thought and reaction was, oh my god, I'm deaf. Like, I thought he pierced something to, like, I don't know what I was thinking, but I just thought he like fucked up my hearing in some way. So that wasn't the case. It was just the blood clogging my ear. I can hear fine out of both my ears, but yeah, getting it done was very, very painful. However, the healing process for it was very easy. It was like a 4 out of 10. It wasn't that painful. I was able to sleep on it almost right away. Like it was very, very easy to heal. Granted, it does take a very long time to heal, and when one of these gets infected, like, you're fucked. Like, it's bad when it gets infected. But yeah, healing for it was not bad at all. I just cleaned it like maybe once a day for a couple weeks and then just kind of let it do its own thing. Moving over to my left ear, I have quite a few piercings in here. The next one is my tragus, which is this little diamond that you're seeing, this little flap of skin. That is the tragus. I have had this one done twice actually. I had it done the first time in my right ear and it rejected, so I got it done again in the left ear, and it stayed and it healed amazing, and I still have it to this day. Getting it done, it was a little bit painful, not too bad. It was about a 6 out of 10 for that one. The reason being is because when I told him that the other one had rejected, he went deeper with this one. And then as far as like healing wise, I give it a 3 out of 10. Like it wasn't too bad. It would have its days where it would kind of flare up a little bit, but other than that, it healed really, really nicely. Moving on to the upper part of my ear, I have 2 forward helix piercings, as you are seeing there. I do have a couple horseshoes in them right now, and I don't have the balls on the lower part, because I know a lot of people are going to ask as to why. The reason for that is because I have to wear piercing retainers for work, so instead of messing with the balls every single time, I don't bother putting any on. Just easier to take them in and out that way. Anyway, so yeah, I do have 2 of those. I have one down here, which I got first, and then the second one up here, which I got done second, obviously. I didn't get them done at the same time. I got them both done at separate times, just for like, I didn't want to at one time, I don't know. So yeah, I have 2 of them, and getting them pierced was a little bit painful, definitely. I would give that maybe an 8 out of 10, and then healing a 7 out of 10. Again, it's a helix piercing. My ears hate those, so they definitely struggled to heal, and they did take a very long time to heal as well. But in the end, they both healed just fine, and I really like, I don't know, I just really like the look of them. I just think they're super cool looking. Would I ever get a 3rd one done? Probably. I'm not opposed to getting that one done. I just have my Rook piercing here, so I don't know if that would like look funny if I had a 3rd one. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, moving on to my Rook piercing, which is this one right here, which is my most recent ear piercing that I got. I've done a ton of videos on it on my channel already, like an experience, healing, 1 month update, etc., things like that. This one is a very interesting piercing, one that I've never had before as far as like piercing and healing wise go. Getting it pierced was a 6 out of 10, and the reasoning for that is it wasn't really painful. It was just a lot of like pressure, and it kind of just felt like a burning sensation. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but for me it was definitely a 6 out of 10. It wasn't that painful though. And then healing, oh my gosh, this is by far, my Rook piercing is my most painful to date as far as healing goes. It was so hard. The first week of having my Rook pierce and that first week of healing was so incredibly painful. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I felt nauseous, my head hurt, my ear hurt. It literally like made my entire jaw hurt. Like that's how intense this piercing was as far as like the first week. It is still healing. It is having a little bit of a flare up right now. My ear's a little bit swollen. So now I'll just give you a close up of both of my ears so you can see all of my ear piercings up close and all that good stuff. So this is my left ear. We have my 3 lobe piercings here. Tragus, 2 forward helix, and then the Rook piercing. And then in my right ear we have the 2 helix, my 3 lobe piercings, and then my date right there. Moving on to my facial region, the next piercing that I got was my tongue. Just looks like that. I'm sure you all know what a tongue piercing looks like. This specific piercing is one that I wanted for a very, very long time, and when I finally decided to get it done, I was 19 years old, and I was so incredibly scared to get this one done. Like, I was just so petrified if it was gonna hurt, if it was gonna cause nerve damage, if I was gonna lose my tongue. Like, I just had so many thoughts going through my head, but honestly, getting it pierced was so incredibly easy. It was literally like a 2 out of 10. Super fast, super painless. I mean, obviously it's a needle going through a muscle, so it is a little bit painful, don't get me wrong, but it is nothing, it's not anything bad. Like, I thought it was gonna be way, way worse. Like, my daith piercing and my ear piercings hurt way worse than my tongue did in my own personal experience. So yeah, the tongue wasn't anything to get pierced. As far as healing goes, especially when you get a tongue piercing, the real test is when it's healing. That's when most people kind of, you know, discover how painful it actually is. For me, it was about an 8 out of 10 because, you know, you have the swelling, you have a bar in your tongue, it's hard to talk, it's hard to eat. It's just, it's very difficult, and I have an entire playlist on my tongue piercing where I went through each day back in 2012 when I got it done, going through day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 month, changing it for the first time. I went through everything. So if you want to know my own personal journey and my own personal experience with my tongue ring, I do have those all over my channel if you want to check those out. But definitely worth it. My tongue piercing is one of my all-time favorite piercings that I have. I absolutely love it. It is the best. So it's one that I will probably have for a very, very long time unless it starts causing issues with my teeth, which for those of you who are wondering, it has not caused any issues with my teeth. praise God. So yeah, that's the deal with my tongue piercing. Moving on to my nose, I have a total of 3 nostril piercings. I have 2 over here and then 1 over here. So the very first nose piercing I ever got was this one right up front that you're seeing here. I actually had this one done 2 times. The first time I got it done, it was about a 5 out of 10, and then healing for it was about a 9 out of 10. The reason for that is because I suffered with a lot of hypertrophic scarring, or keloids as you've heard them called here on YouTube. Every single time I get a nose piercing, I always end up with hypertrophic scarring, or those little bumps that you see on the piercings. My first nose piercing ever, I struggled with them so bad. I think I was struggling with them on and off for a good 8 months when I got it done the first time. And then the reason why I had to get it done again is because the nose ring fell out and it closed up, so I had to get it redone, but that's not no big deal. Alright, and then moving on to my second nostril piercing, which I got right next to this one back here. I've had this one for maybe a couple years now, and getting that done was a little bit more painful. I would give that one maybe a 7 out of 10. For the very reason being that since it's farther back, I feel like there's thicker cartilage back there, at least for my nose. So getting it done was a little bit more on the rougher side, but not anything too bad. And as far as healing goes for my second nostril piercing, it was a lot better than the first one. I give that one maybe a 5 out of 10. I didn't really struggle with too many keloids during the healing process. I got maybe a little one, but it wasn't anything that I dealt with my first one. I think the reason why I struggled a lot with my first one is because I was changing it so often before it was even healed. So I feel like that was the main cause of that. Or just friction in general can cause those, but yeah, my second one was a lot easier than my first. It did take a long time to heal. It took about maybe 9 months to heal. That's just the way my body works. And then my newest nose piercing, which I talked about a little bit already, I got that one maybe like not even a month ago yet, 3 weeks ago, and getting that pierced was about a 6 out of 10. Again, not anything too bad. The worst part of it is like your eyes water every time you get a nose piercing. Just a lot of pressure and just a really hard pinch, and boom, done. So far the healing for it has been excellent, about a 3 to 4 out of 10. I'm not having any issues with it. I'm just struggling with the usual like redness, a little bit of tenderness. Other than that, the healing for it has been going excellent. So that's the deal with all of my facial piercings and my ear piercings. Moving on to other parts of my body, my belly button piercing. I have had that done since 2011, I want to say. Quite the journey with that one. And that is by far one of my most painful piercings that I have. That was like a 9 out of 10 to get pierced. Oh my gosh, it was so horrible. It was one of my first piercings other than my ears that I got, and I was just like, oh, I was in so much pain. I hated it. And then to top it all off, the healing for that was definitely a 10 out of 10. Very, very painful, very, very sore. Oh man, it was bad. In total, my belly button piercing took about a 1.5 years to fully and totally heal. It was very, very difficult. It never rejected or anything like that. Over the years it has migrated quite a bit, but it's never like fully rejected, thank God. But it was just very, very hard to heal. It was very red all the time. It was very swollen. It was very crusty. Moving on to my nipple piercing, that is one of my most recent piercings as well. I got it done about a year ago, and that again is one of my all-time favorite piercings. My tongue and my nipple are my favorites. Getting it pierced, there are a lot of people who are afraid to get their nipple pierced because yes, it does hurt. It was about a 9 out of 10. It was just, you know, obviously it's your nipple, it's a sensitive area already, and when you're putting a needle through it, it's not the greatest feeling, but then again, it's not the worst either. I know a lot of people, especially when you look it up online or on YouTube, you see people screaming and crying and just acting absolutely ridiculous. It is not like that at all. It is very, very bearable to get done. I would definitely get the other one done, but I don't want the other one done, so yeah, but it was totally fine. It definitely hurt though, like I do remember that for sure. And then as far as healing goes, again, this was one of my most easiest piercings to heal as well. It was about a 2 to 3 out of 10 as far as like painful during the healing process. Very, very easy. I never even knew it was there. And finally, we can move on to my retired piercings. Now I have 3 retired piercings that in my last video I had but this one I don't because I took them out. And I have reasons on my channel as to why I took them out. My first one being my eyebrow piercing. I did have my eyebrow pierced for a very long time. Absolutely loved it, but decided to take it out because I couldn't have it for work. Work fucked up a lot of my life. Let me just say that. But yeah, having my eyebrow pierced, getting it pierced was very, very painless. It was like a 2 out of 10. Very quick, very easy, just boop right through and it was done. Healing was about an 8 out of 10 as well. It was pretty painful, it was pretty swollen. I do remember that for sure. I remember I thought it was rejecting at one point because the healing of it was just so incredibly painful. I thought it looked really good on my face. Would I ever get it done again? Maybe, maybe not, but I do really enjoy being able to do brow highlight now without an eyebrow piercing, because when I had it, I could never do it because it just kept getting in the way, you know what I mean? It was very, very annoying. Moving on to my septum piercing, which is one that I most recently took out. A lot of you know that I took it out, a lot of you don't know that I took it out, but I did end up taking my septum piercing out for the very reason that I just didn't like it anymore. And I had it flipped up 90% of the time. Like, I would only flip it down for videos so people wouldn't comment asking where it is, you know what I mean? The story behind my septum piercing is it was pierced low. It was pierced a couple millimeters below where it's supposed to go because it's supposed to go in the sweet spot. Mine was pierced in the very thick cartilage down here, so it wasn't pierced right, and that was definitely a 10 out of 10 to get done. It was very, very painful. I put my septum piercing next to my belly button piercing as far as like pain goes, and then healing for my septum piercing was again a 10 out of 10. My nose was very, very tender for a very long time. I couldn't do this, I couldn't do this, I couldn't wipe my nose. I was just in a lot of pain with my septum piercing. It did end up healing eventually and I could do all those things, but yeah, I just decided to take it out, so it's gone. And then my next retired piercing is my Monroe piercing, or a lip piercing, whatever you want to call it. It is on this side of my face is where I had it pierced. I don't know if you can still see the little dot as to where it was pierced. I had that for a couple years as well, and then just decided to take it out because it was causing gum recession and I just didn't like the look of it on my face anymore. Again, that was very easy to get done, very painless, about a 4 out of 10, and then healing was about a 6 out of 10 just because it's near the mouth area, you know, you're talking, all that stuff. Okay, everybody, so that is everything for my piercings and their pain scales. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed this updated version of it. If you did, be sure to give a huge, huge thumbs up, and don't forget to go down and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any future videos. But as always, I will see you guys very soon in my next video. I love you guys. Bye!